Rosette Byengoma, the accounting officer at Ministry of Defense, appearing before the probe committee of Parliament into the standard gauge railway controversies, reported to the committee that the involvement of UPDF into the dealings started with a presidential directive.
There was a directive from HE, the president, that UPDF should get involved in the rehabilitation of the old railway line.
The directive was later followed by another presidential order that 15 UPDF officers be sent to China for training in gauge railway construction. In 2012, Byengoma told the committee that the president summoned a meeting in State House and told them that they were going to partner with Czech to construct the standard gauge railway.
And in this meeting, we were informed that there is a Czech company, which is a Chinese company, which we could twin with, that is UPDF twinning with that Czech company.
Who informed you? Who in particular informed you?
No, we were called at State House for a meeting. And of course, in that meeting, the chairperson was the president. And in that meeting, we were informed that the Czech company is interested in twinning with UPDF. We got a letter from Solicitor General stopping us from signing, which was funny because we already got clearance and because there was a deadline as to when we should sign the MOU. We signed the MOU on 18th, and we got another letter from Solicitor General stopping us from signing after we had signed.
In spite of Byengoma's play down of the Solicitor General's legal opinion, Byengoma again reported to the committee that President Museveni and his Minister for Presidency directed her to write to Ministry of Works and Uganda Railways Corporation, and no objection later not to raise any red flag on China Harbour and Engineering Construction Company.
We had been asked to write to Uganda Railways Corporation and Ministry of Works to get a no objection letter.
So who was pushing who?
There were also directives from the office of the president, because the minister for the presidency was chairing some of these meetings. So we were being called, hurry and sign this MOU.
In whose interest were you working?
In whose interest? We were also interested, Mr. Chairman.
Who exactly directed, the president or the honorable minister?
I got a call from the minister himself. Honorable Tumevas is the Minister for Presidency. Yeah. So I was told to sign the MOU because it was delaying the whole process.
The controversial standard gauge railway deal worth $8.5 billion, approximately 22 trillion shillings, appears to have caused deep internal rift among ministers. Appearing before the Select Parliamentary Committee investigating the mess in the project, Attorney General Peter Nyombi, who is the Chief Government Legal Advisor, revealed that a fellow minister ignored his advice. Nyombi said he warned Junior Minister of Works Johnny Byabagambi that terminating a memorandum of understanding with the Chinese firm, China Civil Engineering Construction Corporation, would cost the taxpayer.
Termination of the MOU, which had been implemented, would expose government to unnecessary litigation.
Indeed, the High Court later ruled that the termination of the Memorandum of Understanding by Minister Byabagambi was null and void. Nyombi claimed that his colleague Byabagambi told him to back off the project.
And he told me he would not listen to my advice, he could only listen to the advice of the president. So I was perturbed.
I don't know how you reacted to this.
I'm a committed Christian. When I say yes, I mean yes. When I say no, I say no. When I write a legal opinion, I stand by it.
The Attorney General further shocked the lawmakers when he narrated how he was humiliated before President Yoweri Museveni at the President's country home in Rwachitura.
The Minister of State for Work shows the officials who will be dealing with in the Ministry of Justice. That is the Director of Civil Litigation and the certain Minister Bafirawa. That to me sounded dirty.
He says the president just looked on during the meeting he had called to discuss the standard gauge railway project.
There was no contrary view, and the mood was a bit strange. I left the meeting terribly surprised.
This was an expression of no confidence at all in what I am doing, and I would have submitted my resignation right away.
There are times when you remain alone.
Following the controversial launch of the standard gauge railway construction by 3 regional heads of states, Paul Kagame of Rwanda, Salva Kiir of South Sudan, President Yoweri Museveni, and Jakaya Kikwete of Tanzania, shocking documents leaked to a section of legislators by government bureaucrats pointing to defrauding of taxpayers' money. Documents availed to the media at Parliament indicating conflict of interest between President Museveni, his Work State Minister Engineer John Diabakambe, and American broker Rosa Whittaker to award the construction of the standard gauge railway to China Harbour Engineering and Company Limited in total disregard of Section 28 of the PPDA Act.
There is a question of the user department which they raised. The user department is the one that puts in the request. But now they are saying which is the user department. There is no user department. That's why you end up seeing Sabit, Brigadier Sabit signing. Does it mean that this project is going to be run by the UPDF?
Initially, the construction works was to cost $4 billion, but international broker Rosa Whittaker proposed that $4 billion be factored in as kickback, which would, in turn, go to the UPDF Engineering Brigade, bringing the total to $8 billion. However, latest correspondences between President Museveni, his Work State Minister Engineer John Diabakambe, and Rosa Whittaker reveals inflated figures of $11.4 billion.
The name of Yoweri Kaguta Museveni is the one behind this scam. The biggest scandal in the history of this country, where a project is inflated from $4.2 billion now to $11.4 billion. And nobody else is responsible but His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, John Diabakambe, and Rosa Whittaker. They are the 3 musketeers.
There is a figure provided now specifically for this particular bribe, has now been put aside, but the country is going to borrow specifically for it. $40 million for Tororo Polytechnic, which is referred to in the other letter. Remember, they increased the cost from $4.2 billion to $8.5 billion under the guise that they will consider the UPDF Polytechnic.
This $11.4 billion is almost Uganda's budget of over 5 financial years.
18 trillions being taken by one individual is too much money. 18 trillions as in Jauro from the project. You do everything, the railway is there, he has done accountability, and he walks away with 18 trillions. Ah! God forbid. Barely unacceptable. He can do whatever he wants to do. This is why I have to congratulate the Contracts Committee.
In addition to that, there are other hidden costs they have not told you. One, you are not yet sure of the interest Ugandans are going to pay for this loan. Okay? You are not yet sure of the local taxes supposed to be paid in China by this contractor because of the existing agreement between China and Uganda.
And I know the public is not aware of what is happening. If the public knew that the amount now we are talking about has risen to 33 trillion shillings, the equivalent of the 3 annual budgets of this country is being paid on here.
However, contracts law expert Wilfred Nwagaba says the contract that is earmarked to be signed on Tuesday this week between the Uganda government and China Harbour Engineering and Construction Company Limited doesn't spell out the operator and the user department, forcing the Contracts Committee of Ministry of Works to decide otherwise.
We have no existing law to regulate private players in the railway sector. Now, who will be supervising this sector that is now in the private hands? Who is the regulator? Why doesn't government first come up with the law that will regulate the sector that is now entirely in the private hands?
So they are raising the question of the law. Which law is guiding us? That's what the Contracts Committee was concerned with. Which law is guiding us? Who are the user department who put in the request for this bid? Because the president can't be